I'm gonna train a thought right now in lieu of Memorial Day, obviously. 11:28 a.m. I think this will probably be my part 9. I just did a part 8, and it's just understanding what happens in the military. Again, I've been out of the military so long, but you know, certain things never change, and I can tell by what was going on during the Bush administration, things weren't changing. For a lot of the enlisted guys that are the infantry guys, a lot of them are, they're dying or they're wounded. But it takes to die or to be wounded to be kind of glorified in a way, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about the preserving of that American while they're alive. And those Americans that are whole, that can say, okay, how do we translate what you do in common sense? Because you have like 1,000 degrees of common sense to the real world. But it starts with giving that infantry person a cut above the rest. Even when I was, and again, I talk about this in my last video, is, as a 19-year-old meritorious corporal, and, I'm 19, and they're like 27, 28-year-old lance corporals and senior corporals that are like, wow, when I became sergeant, I was like, I think I was a 3-year sergeant, and I almost won the NCO, the quarter meritorious sergeant board. Barely. I mean, even one of the gunnies said, you know what, you would have won, but you're so young, Gonzalez. He said, you just became a meritorious corporal, and then you would become a meritorious sergeant? And these Marines are infantry sergeants, and they're like 10 years older than you. I mean, I was told that, and I could understand it. Because at that time, I was like 20 years old. Yet you have 28-year-old infantry corporals that can't get promoted. Yet I get all the awards. See, I'm the example of that Marine that is a smart guy, that has a personality, that gets the awards and it gets glorified. Yet the one who's actually out there living it, because they're not in the arena, they always get overlooked. I'm an example of that. We can see an example in our American society of the same thing. What we glorify is not what actually preserves our freedom. And I was an example of that in the Marine Corps. I used an example, even with the Alpha Company. It was a situation where there was an Alpha Company Marine that kind of stuck up for, that was being targeted for being gay or thought of being gay, and I had stuck up for him. And even the sergeant said, "Oh, you know what, man? He looked at me, and I remember, I know you. You're that meritorious. Marine. Well, you know what? We're the infantry. I'll do it my. It was that kind of thing. And people, and I understand people have sentiments that are very conservative, and they do. That's a fact. But I understand early on that, there's kind of a resentment that I had to go through from being glorified. You know what I mean? And it's just what happens. And then a lot of Marines off the side would say, "Oh man, you get to be in the ball. Wow, you get to go to college at night and do things we can't do." And I would always feel like, I don't know, I would always feel like that kid that, oh wow, man, I'm the person everybody is kind of looking at, saying, well, you get all the good, but we're doing all the work. It's kind of like that thing, and I felt it, and I knew it. And at the same time, no one could dispute me deserving what I had. But at the same time, any one of those guys, I was glorifying them. And I would even tell them, dude, you are the Marine Corps. I mean, you're the Marine Corps, man. I want to be you, but yet I'm this Marine in the vault with all the things, But I've had that problem really my whole life, to be honest with you. Even being in Hollywood. As just a waiter, I was in a way going through that as well. I can't get away from it. I don't think I can get away from it now, not even knowing what's going on. I'm gonna